All right. So again, hi everyone. My name is Sebastian Franco, as you heard. I am the admissions counselor for UCSB. I do rep your school and the whole district as well. So if you all do have any questions, feel free to ask me at any time. Obviously, you have the whole presentation to ask me throughout. But if you do have questions in the future, I will give you my email at the end, so you can always contact me as well. Also, thank you, all three of you, actually, for adding the specific majors as well, so I can kind of tailor more to you all. That way I don't have to give you all the information that you might not care about. So in that case, when we go into the academic portion, I won't talk about the College of Creative Studies unless, well, actually, since we are recording this, actually, I will talk about it just in case I have any future students, but I can at least point out the specific majors that you all mentioned. Just to give you an overview as well, we'll start off with the academic portion, we'll move on to student life, and at the end, I'll talk about the application process and give you just some updates about COVID and give you all the tips and stuff like that. But with that being said, again, if you have any questions, just add them in the chat box and I'll make pauses to kind of answer those as they come in. So going into the UC system. So we have a total of 10 different campuses. There's only one that is missing here on the map, and that's UCSF, San Francisco. That's because it's a grad school specific campus. But otherwise, you all are going to be looking at the other 9 UC campuses. What I like to say is that we're one big family, but we're all siblings within each other. So what does that mean? We're a little bit different from one another. So it is important that you check with every campus and see how are we different. Do they have the specific majors? Do they have a location? Do they have the sizes that you're looking for within each other? Just to give you perspective, our largest UC campus is LA with about 45,000 students. Our smallest is Merced with about 8,000 students. So again, a huge contrast between all of us. We're in the middle, we're actually about 26,000 students, but as you can tell, the majority are undergrad. So what does that mean? A lot more research opportunities, a lot more opportunities for you to do the hands-on experiences if you wanted to. But of course, you cannot do research without your specific majors. So going to the 3 different colleges. The first one, the College of Letters and Science. So this is actually going to be specifically for you, Selena, and also Natalie. This is going to be the specific college for you both, since you're looking at something in either political science or pre-law, and also biology, neurosciences, stuff like that. So again, something to keep in mind. So within this college is not competitive, is not impacted. We do not have a limit of how many students can get in here, no additional requirements, nothing like that. So basically what it means, as long as you're admitted to UCSB, you will automatically be placed into one of those majors. So again, really make sure that you choose the one that you want. You also have the undeclared option. So if you're really not sure what you want to study, that's totally fine. Again, you can choose undeclared, and we will still read you the same way as anybody else. Again, I read the applications. You're not going to be disadvantaged because you put undeclared as a first option. So again, something to keep in mind. Now as well for political science, obviously, or something pre-law, I'll talk about the pre-law program in just a second, but we do actually have a lot of majors related to not just political science, but to pre-law. So that could be sociology, that could be economics, that could be psychology. So it really depends on where you want to go as well with that specific kind of pre-law track. When it comes to sciences, for you, Natalie, in this case, it would be that we do have 10 different biologies, so you get to choose which ones. Within the neurosciences, we actually have 2 psychology programs, biopsychology and psychological and brain sciences. So you have those 2 options. But nursing, which I know is a very popular major as well, unfortunately, nursing is the one that we just don't have. Again, I will tell you if we have something similar to it. So again, if you have any questions, you can let me know for something specific, but we just don't have a specific nursing program. What I do recommend if you're looking into nursing as a specific major and career is going to be UC Irvine and UCLA. They do actually have both nursing programs. Sorry, I was trying to remember what the major was. Nursing programs. So again, they're very good within the UC system for those programs. But again, we have all the other biology and neurosciences and medical related programs, which I'll talk about in the next slide. Now, engineering. So this one is the only college that has a limit of how many students can get into this college. So for that reason, it is the most competitive. So again, even though it is competitive, we don't have additional requirements. The only thing that we do have is going to be a recommendation. So again, this is going to be specifically for Judah, since you mentioned that you actually want computer science, then again, you're looking at the College of Engineering. The only recommendation that we have for you is going to be to take calculus or pre-calc while you're in high school. Again, that will help your chances to get into the College of Engineering. Now, what's really cool about the College of Engineering, and this is optional, is that you can actually graduate in 5 years with a bachelor's and a master's degree all together. What that means is that if you wanted to, you can actually graduate again, talk to your academic advisor, see if everything looks good. If you're ready for it, you can go into that 5th year and get that master's. So a lot easier than applying to another university, doing it for an additional 2 years, doing the application process and all that stuff. So you can avoid all that work in that sense. The third and last college, again, I know nobody really mentioned this one, but just in case, it is going to be the College of Creative Studies, which again is all about creating something new, something that does not exist. That means all the way from research, so it could be biology, for example, because we do have a biology in there, all the way to writing and creating your own book if you wanted to. So again, this college is all about creating something new, doing that research. Now, this college is the only one that is selective. So that means that it's not competitive. It does not mean, it doesn't have a limit of how many students can get into this college, but it does have a supplemental application that goes along with each of these majors. So in case I do have any seniors, either in the future watching this as well, just keep in mind that if you're applying to this college, you're not going to see the supplemental application right away. You're going to see this after you submit the UC application. So again, something to keep in mind as you're applying to this college. All right, now going to those professional programs as promised. Within the professional programs, they are not majors, they are not minors. You're not going to see this on the UC application. This is just something to be aware of that we have, so you can actually take on those once you're at UCSB if you want to. So the first two, health professions advising and the pre-law program. These two programs will make sure that whatever major you choose, so it could be political science, it could be biology, it could be arts if you wanted to, you can choose any majors. We will make sure you're taking the courses and exams and preparing for those exams to then get into law school, med school, or vet school. So again, Sabina, I know since you mentioned this specifically for you, this actually could be a good option for you to do the pre-law program on top of whatever major you want in that sense. So it could be political science or not. Natalie, since you mentioned biology, you may be thinking about the medical school. So again, the health professions advising will be the best one for you. Now, the third and last one will be the TMP program, Technology Management Program. This program is for any student who is looking into either business-related majors or nothing to do with the business major, but maybe you want to do something, or create your own company or have your own company in the future. So again, this might be for any of you three here, but for anybody as well. So the TM program will actually give you a certificate in business on top of interacting with companies in Santa Barbara. And on top of that, we have our own version of Shark Tank. Hopefully all of you have seen it or at least heard of the show, but same concept. If you and a group of friends come up with this great idea for a company, you can showcase it to a group of investors. If they like the idea, they'll actually give you money and help you get it started, just like Shark Tank would do. So again, a lot of opportunities for you to kind of get that going just in case. All right, and then the last thing as well, and again, if there's any question about academics, please add them in because I'll open it up to questions in just a second. But it's going to be student research. So again, if any of you do care for any additional research or to see what research is going on right now on campus, I highly recommend you look into FRAP, Faculty Research Assistance Program. Think of the coffee, basically, but basically it is a whole database and link where all of you can actually see what research is going on right now on our campus. You can see who are doing the research, who are the students, who are the professors leading that, how to contact them. So we have actually an idea of what you could potentially do, and you can search by specific subject area. So if you want to look into computer science or biology or political science, you will be able to see what research is going on in there for you. All right, and that was a lot of information, and we just started, but any questions so far about the academics, just to make sure?
Sebastian, I'm going to ask on behalf of the kids because they may not know to do this. The perks of being a research assistant. I was a research assistant when I did my undergrad at Davis. These are the people that end up writing you the letters of recommendation for graduate school. This is the experience that gets you the jobs. I always tell students that the degree gets you an interview. The research assistants and the internships are what get you the job, correct?
Yes, in a way to say yes, I can agree with that as well, because you do get a lot of experiences and you get a lot of opportunities to network with those TAs or professors or academic advisors. So I would agree with you in the sense of definitely take advantage and get to know those TAs or professors. Actually, my partner, she's a TA, or she's actually doing her PhD program in the psychology department. So she actually has her own research assistants, undergraduate research assistants. And so she actually writes letter recommendations right now for students to then move on to a job or postgraduate school. So I agree 100% with that. So definitely take advantage and talk to them in that sense, get to know them in that sense.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any other ones, just to make sure. I don't see anything in the chat box, just want to make sure. All right. So again, we'll keep on going to student life. So the main thing I want to point out here is that, again, we do have a lot of resources. Most, if not all of them, are going to be included in your tuition. Now, we have academic resources all the way to non-academic. So that includes the Writing Center, the Tutoring Center. So if you need help with your specific papers or doing homework, you will have that option. All the way to our cultural diversity offices. So if you actually want to get involved with something related to your identity or something completely different, but you just want to be involved with that, keep in mind that we do have them. They do food, music, dance, and cultural events all throughout the year. So again, just a lot of fun to be part of those. And of course, we have our EOP office, Educational Opportunity Program. If you have not heard of this, please do so. Keep in mind with it. The reason for it is that if you're a first-generation student, meaning the first of your family to go to college, not including your siblings, and or income eligible, then we will actually support as well. We will actually give you additional academic support, additional financial support, and on top of that, a mentorship program with another student going through the same program as you. So they will actually support you through that process of making sure you succeed within college as well. So again, keep that in mind that you have that option in case you're looking for it, but it is a really great resource for students. Now, within scholarships, there's two main ways that we do scholarships. One of them is merit-based scholarships. Those merit-based scholarships are automatically done and determined through the UC application. On that application, you will see a scholarship section. You will checkmark as many as you want. I am not exaggerating. That's how easy it is. Based on the information that you have on the whole UC application, we will automatically determine if you're eligible for those scholarships or not. The other way is needs-based, meaning we look at your family household income to determine how many scholarships you're eligible for. For that, we need the UC application, obviously, but also either the FAFSA or the DREAM Act. It's either one or the other, not both, but they're both due March 2nd of your senior year. So please, please, please have those in, because again, this will be really important for us to know how many scholarships we can provide you. Otherwise, we just really won't be able to help you as much. Now, this thing over is going to be the residence halls. So we do have 8 different ones. You are not required to live on campus, not even your first year if you don't want to. Now, we know campus is closed at the moment, so it's a little bit harder to see them. But if you want to, and I know some of some experience, we do have online 3D virtual tours to all the residence halls. So just put UCSB housing and it will show up there for you just in case. But just to give you perspective, in case you have not been to campus, we are literally on the beach. I am not exaggerating. We're actually on the beach. And the best part about that is if you have the right room and the right floor, you will actually have oceanfront view as well. So it does not get any better than that, basically. And then, of course, we do have over 500 organizations, all of them started by and for students. So if you don't find the one that you want, just get it started. All it takes is just you, 3 other friends, and that's it. No extra fees, nothing like that. That's why we have so many, and they keep on growing. But we have all the way from the academic organizations all the way to the non-academic ones, like the Harry Potter Alliance, or my personal favorite, which we don't have at the moment, but we used to have the Costco Club. Not making this up, we used to have a Costco Club. Their whole mission and purpose was to go to Costco for free samples. That was it. So again, as you can tell, the ideas are endless. So it's really your choice to kind of find out for yourself. But if you don't see it, just get it started. That's all it takes. And then we are a Division I institution. We have 19 different sports. The most popular is by far soccer, but what's even better, every single home game for every sport, for every student is free. All you need is just an ID card, head inside, have fun. That's all it takes. Then club sports, they're competitive, just not Division I yet. And then intramurals. Intramurals is literally just for fun. It's you and your friends competing against other friends on campus. I always say for fun. There's always that one friend that just makes it competitive before everybody else, right? You all know who that is. And then just to finish off the student life portion is traveling. Hopefully most, if not all of you, want to travel at some point during college. But just in case, we do have over 300 programs to choose from, over 40 countries worldwide, and every continent except Antarctica are included. A little bit too cold down there, but also that you have the options. Now, all of the credits that you do abroad, they will transfer back to UCSB, so you can grad on time. So you will not be placed behind because you go for a quarter, a semester, or a whole year. And on top of that, we have 2 national trips. So if you're like, I want to travel, but I don't want to leave the country, you have one in DC, one in Sacramento. How they work is that you will do an internship with your specific major and career path in mind in one of those 2 cities, and you will get credits out of it. And if you wanted to, you can actually go into Congress to see how lobbying and politics works as well. So you'll have that opportunity. But again, a lot of opportunities for students to actually get involved with their specific majors and careers before they even graduate. And keep in mind that some of these programs, traveling abroad, not just within the US, but also outside of the US, some of those programs are actually cheaper to study abroad for that quarter a year than actually studying at UCSB. So you might be able to do the same class you have to do here somewhere else for less cost with better food options. Who knows, right? So again, you have all those different options there for you. All right, just to put a pause, before I move on to the application process, any questions again, just to make sure? All right. Again, I don't see anything in the chat box, so we'll keep on going. And again, if you feel more comfortable, you can always use the private function on the chat box, so I don't read who it is, just read the question just in case, if you feel more comfortable with that. But going into the application process. So question for you all, did your school district go to a pass, fail, credit, no credit system by any chance last semester?
No, they did not.
Did not, okay,
So
perfect.
basically, but they were kind of at a disadvantage though as well though. So our school shut down on March 13th and all grades froze at that point for the semester. So
Okay.
whatever grade they had at the beginning of March, that was their final grade in June.
I see. Okay. In that case, so I'll make 2 points then. One is all of you, do not worry about the first paragraph. It does not affect you or your schools because you did not go to a pass credit system. Since your courses froze at that moment, and I know it's kind of like unexpected for anybody, you can actually add that on the additional academic section. Let us know that that happened, so that way we can put that in perspective. Again, it's for any students, for all of you, actually, since that happened to you, basically all of you. Just added on the academic additional comment section, just that your school basically closed down and it froze all of the grades at that moment. Because again, that will be affecting your GPAs in that sense. The next updates then, the main thing is AP exams and IB exams. We know College Board has been making it as difficult as possible to take those exams. So if you have taken any online exams, we will accept those as well. I'll go into the credits and scoring in just a second. But again, if you receive a 3 or higher on the APs or 5 or higher on the IB exams, we will accept those as well towards credits towards the UC system. And the ACT and ACT exams, this is going to be the biggest updates. And again, since this is recorded, I'll make sure I'll mention all 3 tiers here. But all the UCs are test optional at the moment. So again, that means that you as a student really get to decide whether you submit those scores or not. We are not going to penalize you. We're not going to disadvantage you because you submit those scores, even if you think they're horrible, or you just don't submit them at all. Either way, it's not going to disadvantage you in any way, shape, or form. So feel comfortable to really make your own decision. On top of that, the UC system does not compare students to any other students. So that means that we're not comparing you to your best friend or your twin sibling or whoever it is. We're literally looking at you for who you are. So again, what I'm trying to say with that is, if your best friend submits the SAT and you don't want to, don't do it. We are not going to compare you with anybody else. So you're not going to be disadvantaged in any way, shape, or form. Now, however, even though the UC system is test optional as a whole, there are some UC campuses like ours, UCSB, who has decided to not use the SAT or SAT scores towards our selection process, including merit-based scholarships for our current seniors. So again, for our seniors, UCSB specifically is not going to be using your SAT or SAT scores, even if you submit them on the UC application. You might be using them for other applications or for other UC campuses, but not for us. For our current juniors, you're still test optional. We're not test blind or anything like that. You're still test optional. Now, if you are a fall 23 or 24 applicant, meaning sophomore or freshman, current freshman or sophomore, we are going to be test blind. So that means that you're just not going to have the option at all to submit those scores. So again, just keep that in mind, depending on what year you're in. All right, any questions about these updates, just to make sure? All right, okay, I don't see anything in the chat box, but I know it takes a little bit longer to type in those questions. So we'll keep on going. So minimum requirements, probably all of you know this, or at least have a good idea about them. But again, A through G courses, you need to complete them with a C or higher. If you have a C minus, you're good to go. There's no plus minus system for freshmen. Minimum GPA, all of you are in California, so do not worry about the non-residents, that's not for you. Minimum GPA, again, is a 3.0 weighted GPA. So again, that's the bare minimum, but of course, the higher, the better. And I'll go into how we calculate that in just a second. Last part, life experiences. Everything you've done outside of studying is going to be huge for us. We really value everything you did outside of studying. So again, it's really important that you do let us know about that stuff. So going into the GPA, how do we calculate that? So again, minimum 3.0 weighted GPA. How do we calculate it? It comes out of the grades that you received in your 10th and 11th grades, so sophomore, junior years, including the summers before and between and after. So that means that if you're a current senior, your GPA is frozen and set in stone at this time. You just won't be able to move it for better or for worse. So again, just keep that in mind. That's how we calculate that. Now, the weighted system. This is in case you do have these grades. How it works is that if you have any AP courses, any IB courses with passing grades, any UC transferable college coursework, so again, that includes also dual enrollment, and or any honors courses, we will add up to 8 semester units to your weighted GPA. Again, that's the limit. It's up to 8 semester units, but it will go to your weighted GPA. Now, there is no limit to how many credits can transfer into a UC campus. So let's just exaggerate, and let's just say that you have 30 UC transferable college coursework, just exaggerate here. Again, up to 8 semester units will be used towards a weighted GPA in combination between all of them, but there's no limit to how many can transfer. So all 50 college courses will go into the UC campus. So I just want to make that point. Again, any questions about this math side of things? Do you see one on the Q&A? Which says, what is the average GPA of a student who gets accepted? Good question. So the average GPA is going to be 4.13 from our last group. So this is from the current students that are on our campus. It's 4.13. Good question, though, Serena. So yeah, thanks for asking as well. But yes, so 4.13 is the average. Again, this is the average. It does not mean that because you don't have it, it doesn't mean that you can't get in or anything like that either. Again, we look at all of the non-academic side of things. Just want to make that sure. All right. Now, going into the PIQs and how that works. So again, within the PIQs, if you have not seen them, you're actually able to see them. We have all of the PIQs online right now available for you. We have not changed them in the last 5 years. We don't expect them to change, but again, just something to keep in mind. But again, it's how does it work? You have 8 different questions. You will answer only 4 of those. No more, no less. We do this on purpose because we really want you to choose whatever makes sense to you, not to us. So don't try to choose the one that you really think will look best. Reality is, it doesn't exist. Choose the one that makes sense to you. If you know the answer for it, go for it. Don't second guess it. The other thing as well is that you only have 350 words per PIQ. It's not a lot. And again, we did this on purpose because we do not want you to actually write essays. We don't want creative writing. We don't want poems. As much as I love to read those creative writings, it only tells us one thing about yourself. You're creative, which is great. But again, it doesn't tell us enough about you. So instead, I want you to reframe the thought process and think of it as an interview style process. If you're going to any interview, how would you answer those questions? Definitely not by telling them a poem, right? You will tell them who you are, where you've been, where you're going, assets, skills. That's exactly what we want out of those PIQs. So again, that's what we really want to get out of them. The other thing as well is that I want you all to be extremely, extremely selfish. I know it sounds weird. It's the opposite of what people tell you to do, but I want you to be selfish. I want you to write I, me, and my statements for every sentence if possible. Because again, the more information, the better it is for us to know about who you are. Now, COVID-19. We know COVID is going to be the theme across the world, but the main thing is that we do not want you to talk about COVID unless it is significant what you want to talk to us about. And again, this could mean all the way from having not enough computers for your whole family members to having really spotty Wi-Fi so you can't understand the college or the high school courses, right? It makes a huge difference in that sense. What we don't want, though, is for you to write COVID-19 affected me in a negative way, period. That's all we got from it. Reality is it affected us all in a negative way. So again, that's not enough to really give us much. What we want you to do is, again, share with us something significant. And again, this is endless possibilities. So bring it back to your own stories. Whatever that means to you, write it down. The last thing similar to this is, again, COVID-19 and activities and involvement. If anything got canceled, suspended, or postponed because of COVID, we want you to add that on the application. So what that means is, let's just say that you've been doing an activity since freshman year. You were playing soccer, just to mention an activity, but it could be any activity or event. Again, I want you on the application, I want you to check mark 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th year. Describe what the activity was, like you would normally do. So MVP, captain, varsity team, won tournaments, right? The same spiel. But then add one quick line, very quick line saying COVID-19 suspended or canceled, suspended fall 2020 season. That's it. That's all we need. We don't need anything else because now we have the whole context. It's not like you didn't want to play or you didn't want to, you got lazy or quit. It's just you couldn't do it because of COVID, right? There's very different perspectives. But again, we're not going to make any assumptions. So if you don't write anything on the application, to us, it's just going to look empty, regardless of why the reason is. So you need to let us know. So again, the more information, the better it is for you. All right, again, I know it's a lot of information, but any other questions about the application process, about anything I've mentioned so far before I finish off the presentation? All right, I don't see anything, so we'll keep on going. So again, deadlines, has been the same for forever, basically. So again, this won't really change. But again, August 1st is when the application opens. So that means right now. So the application will be open, but you won't be able to submit it. The submit button will open November 1st, and it will close down 11:59 p.m. Pacific time on November 30th. So that's a hard deadline. So if you can, please submit it just 2 days before. If you can earlier, the better. But again, 2 days before is all I'm asking, just in case your Wi-Fi goes off, you can still submit it. December, this is optional, but December of your senior year will be the last month to do the SAT or SAT. Again, this is only for my seniors and juniors. March 2nd, again, it's going to be the deadline for the scholarships, so FAFSA or DREAM Act, and the last thing is mid-March. So this is when you're going to hear back from all the UC. You won't hear from us at the same time, but you will hear back from us during that second, third week of March if you got in or not from those UC campuses. So keep that in mind. And the last thing, and I feel like I do a commercial every time, is going to be our Instagram accounts. So if you do want more of a student perspective, I highly recommend you look into UCSB Live Instagram accounts. This one actually will give you, it's all run and led by students, and current students actually take over and actually do live Q&As. So if you actually want to ask them any questions about their majors, like computer science or biology or political science, because we've brought all 3 of them already and we keep on bringing them in, you can actually ask them about that. You can also ask them about their perspective of where do you get the best food, what do you do for fun. And of course, the Office of Admissions, as the name says, anything related to admissions, that's going to be where you can find it. So tips, recommendations, reminders, deadlines, all the stuff will be in there as well. But as promised, here is my email. So if any of you do have any questions at all, please feel free to email me at any time. I'll be more than glad, whether it's this year or next year, I'll be here to help you out. So again, just write it down, take a picture of it, tattoo it in your arm, whatever you need to do with it. But again, I'll be more than glad to help you out. Just in case you want additional resources, you can just scan the QR code and we will give you more information just in case. But with that, any other questions, any last questions, anything at all about anything UCSB or application related? All right. I don't see anything on the chat box or the Q&A. So the one thing I want to add on the chat box, which I'm adding right now for all three of you, but for anybody, it's a link that, so every Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. until November 19th. So for about, what is it, 3 more weeks already? Can't believe it. We're doing a live webinar on just the UC application. So if you're not a senior, you're welcome to come, but this is really great for seniors. We're literally doing screenshot on screenshot of the whole UC application. So we actually go over the whole thing, kind of like what I did, but way more in detail. So again, if you're like, Sebastian, I can't stand you anymore, don't worry. It might not be me. It might be one of my colleagues. You can go to them as well. But again, just in case you want extra resources, highly recommend that one. But with that, I just want to say thank you all for coming. I know